Yo. Oh my goodness.
Oh, my days.
What a day. What a day.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Hi, guys.
So glad you're here with us. So happy to be here with you guys.
Yes.
You know, this broadcast is not about preaching, but I just want to start by saying thank you, Lord.
Hallelujah.
For this opportunity.
Definitely.
We praise him. So, yes, we're back again. I'm Ezekiel.
I'm Sarah.
And we're here today for another episode of Marriage Matters Live.
Yes, if you can hear us, if the audio is good, just let us know that you can hear us and the audio is good. Thank you all of you that have just held on since. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Honestly, we really do. We really appreciate all of you. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. It's amazing to have the family support. We thank you so much. Yes. We appreciate all of you out there, just in the God Life world, the Marriage Matters family. We appreciate you, those of you who are supporting us. Right, Sister says.
Oh, yes. Sister says.
Yes, you're my sister. You
and
are my
your
sister.
wife at the same time.
And you know this. Sorry, Mrs. Kim. That's what you like, yeah? You like that, yeah?
I like the sound of that.
How you doing today?
I'm good, babes. What about you?
I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, God bless you, dude.
Thank you.
God bless you, because without your wonderful skills and the abilities that you've been blessed with, I don't know how we do this.
We give God the utmost praise. We give him the utmost praise.
And because of that, I've got a little treat for him.
Yeah. So,
obviously, he never eats it during the show. I'm so tempted to actually just pick up one of these and just be like, I'm like, so why is it here? Why is it here? No.
So I know we didn't come here today for the treats. We did not come here today for just to give praise, but we came here today to really tackle some real issues. I want you guys to remember this. It is you guys in the comments, you guys who are watching this live, even you guys who are watching this after the fact. Yeah. It's you guys that assist us to make these conversations happen.
That's right.
So you may be watching this after the fact thinking, what are you talking about? Add your comments, add your views on the video. Share this video. If you've gotten any value, if you've got any any benefit
input
from these videos, or you've given some good input before and you think some other people need to hear your input, share these videos with your people, with your community. All right, it's really important. You guys are the ones that help us foster this conversation.
Definitely.
All right, so today's topic.
Hit it away.
She's pointed at me. So we want to talk about something real significant today. And again, I think it's really dear to my heart because we see a lot of couples, a lot of relationships. We talk to people, we're coaching people, and just over the years, many couples are challenged with this. And we want to talk about being attracted to dysfunction. So on the drive down today, we were having a little bit of a discussion about this, and I think it's important that we really tackle this at its core and at its heart, because this is a real issue. A lot of people are facing it, a lot of people are going through it, and I think it's important for us to maybe give our view, our take, the lessons we've learned along the way, to really assist the people today so that they can learn to kind of come out of that space of dysfunction. For those of them in marriages, and then for those people kind of in that courting zone, they're able to really identify these things early and tackle it in the very early stages. So we're talking about being attracted to dysfunction. So some of you guys are probably wondering, what on earth does that mean? What on earth does that mean? So when I was looking up the definition of this word, so it's funny, it's spelt a little weird. I don't know if any of you's picked up on that, but and I'm not going to go into the whole makeup of the words and all those kind of things. There's no need for us to go into the etymology. But what I think was very key was that there were two types of this word dysfunction. So you've got DIS and you've got DYS. I think that we use DIS. Dysfunction talks about something that you were asking me earlier on, the difference between the two. So the first one, really, DIS really talks about something that doesn't operate at all. So imagine you've got a toaster and it's dysfunctional, DIS. Essentially what that means is your toaster's broke. It does not toast bread. All right? Then you've got the DYS, dysfunction. And this word really talks about, and it's when I looked it up, it's two root words come from two different languages essentially. But what this word defines and tells us is something that's not operating properly. Right. So you've got, I don't know if you've ever been in this situation. I remember when I was a little younger, we had a 4-bread toaster at home.
We still got one of those.
Yeah, but the situation with our 4-bread toaster was that only 2 slices worked. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yep. I'm sure everyone's had a 4-bread toaster. Well, many of us have had 4-bread toasters that only 2 sides work.
So our toaster was operating in dysfunction. All right,
definitely.
And when we bring that back to the relationships, what we see is that there are many relationships that aren't operating the way they are supposed to.
That's right.
So you might have a relationship that's just broken, dysfunction. Then you've got this dysfunction we're talking about today, where relationships, it's not that they're broke, they're over, they're well beyond the space of divorce. We're here to kind of to defend against that. We don't agree with that at all.
That's right.
And we're fighting against that. But what we're talking about today is those relationships, or those on their way into a relationship that are dealing with this failure to operate accordingly. You may have heard me talk about this phrase "out of order" in the past, and that's essentially what we're talking about: relationships that are out of order. Yeah.
Sorry, you know what? I'm still in that sharing post mode. Sorry, but yes. Do you have a question for me?
Not right now.
Cool.
I just don't mind looking at you in a moment and just.
No, it's fine. I mean, for me, you know what? It was funny because I kind of felt like when you said that this is what we was going to be talking about, I was just. It just made me think about my childhood a lot. Basically, made me think about my childhood a lot, and I'm sure many of us will kind of relate in a sense, because a lot of the things we talk about seem to stem from that's right. Home.
That's right.
And when we was talking about it, I was kind of like, oh, it's a bit of a touchy subject, because it's kind of like, how do you bring it in and explain it in marriage, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't really see dysfunction.
That's right.
It becomes normal in a sense, and I guess that's kind of where the whole subject of attracted to dysfunction kind of derives from. Because why is it that we're so, in a sense, relaxed in dysfunction?
Yeah.
And you might be like, no, I'm not relaxing this, but most of the time it becomes normal.
Yeah.
It becomes normal. Let's just take something really small, like bedtime, for instance.
Yeah.
Bedtime should be sort of regulated, especially for children.
Come on,
let's just to say,
and for adults.
And for adults, of course, you need at least 7 hours sleep.
At bare minimum.
But then as things begin to happen, those things don't become. They're not put in order. Not everybody. I mean, a lot of people, they do have their shit in order, but majority of us grow up in environments where it's just a lot of the times, children are left to raise themselves.
Yeah.
When they get to a certain age, we're kind of left to raise ourselves. You're left to make dinner for yourself. In some instances, depends on what the family dynamic is. Mum might not be at home. She might be like, look, there's things, I've left this for you. Just sort it out and, do what it is that you need to do.
Yep.
Or if you're like an older sibling, you're looking after all your little siblings while mum and dad are doing whatever it is they need to do. So a lot of us don't really look at it as dysfunction.
Yeah.
We look at it as normal.
That's right.
This is the way of life. This is how life has panned out. This is the card I've been dealt, in a sense.
Come on.
So for me, it's just like when you now step into the marriage sector and try and look at dysfunction in that area. There's the first one, the first dysfunction that you describe, which is when something is not working properly. It's broken.
Yeah.
And obviously people in marriage, they try to look past that. They know things are not working properly. They know things are not how it should be, but it's just kind of like, well, I'm here now, so I'm just going to get on with it. Instead of kind of like trying to repair that brokenness, they just try to live with it. Yeah. And I think that's when problems begin to arise.
That's powerful. So I think there's the stage we're talking about, which is dysfunction and then there's dysfunction. So you've got something that's broken and then something that just doesn't work anymore, basically. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to combat the situation where you get to this space where it's just not working. It may feel like right now it's not working. It may feel like right now, you know what, this is just, it's too much. It's a drama. It's over. I'm gone. But you may not necessarily be at that space. Because if you've got one person who's willing, you've got one person who's committed, you've got one person who says, you know what, I'm going to pray.
That's right.
In actuality, that's all you need. One person who says, you know what, I'm going to try. I'm going to make the effort. I'm going to believe in this. I'm going to dial back to where we started. That person alone is enough to get the ball rolling in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely.
Basically.
And the funniest thing is because a lot of the times, you know, it's like, oh, but it's the two of us. We both have to make an effort. You know, if we want to fix this, we've both got to work together. Whereas it depends on how troubled the marriage is. Because if it's gotten to a place where, you know, dysfunction has become normal, why is one person or the other person going to want to fix it? To them, that's just the way it is now, you know, and they're getting on with it. And I really don't like that statement, getting on with it, especially in relationships, because no one should just get on with it. Do you know what I mean? So it's definitely one of those things where it's like, okay, if I can do my part, let me start doing my part to begin to fix things. You know, it's like you see something that has, I don't know, spilt on the floor. Let's say you're cooking and you spill something. You're not going to wait for your spouse to come and start wiping before you start wiping. Oh, baby, let's wipe this together. Hey, that's true love, isn't it? Wow, for some people. But in reality, that's not really the case, is it? It's, you see it, you know, you spill it, you jump into action. So why is it the fact that when relationships are going sour, why is it that one person doesn't want to swing into action? Why is it that the both couples are waiting for each other someone to see sense and the other person to see sense before they want to fix this problem or fix the issue that is arising in their marriage, you know? And it definitely, and I think that's definitely something that people really need to begin to understand, that it can take one person to really begin to fix things. You know? So
absolutely agree with that. And I think we need to remain focused on the fact that when we start talking about this kind of thing, it all stems from, and you guys hear me say this like every episode,
Because it's true.
Every episode, it all stems from your vision. All right, the vision that you have for your relationship. I know my toaster is broken. Why? Firstly, because it has four slices. There's 4 slots for bread in it. But the second thing is that the instructions that came with it told me, if you push down lever A, 2 bread toast. If you push down lever B, 4 bread toast. There's an instruction manual. And I know people are saying like, wait. Marriage doesn't come with an instruction manual. Before I get to that point, or before, I don't even know if we've got enough time on this episode to discuss that. We do have
marriage manual
for sure. We do have some strong guidance for marriage. I'll be honest with you. But the reality is, before we even touch on that, when we come together as a couple, we need to make a determination. We are 2 grown adults. And really it comes down to areas of value. You value your job, so you study. You value money, so you go and you study. You value your family, so you protect them. So the things that we value, we invest in. All right, we invest our time, we invest our money, we invest our energy, we invest our resources. I don't understand, Sarah, why when it comes to relationships, people seem to think it's okay not to invest the necessary time to plan, to structure, and to strategize for a successful relationship. Like, it gets me so often because they genuinely believe that what they see on the screen, on the silver screen, is real. Okay, there's a few movies, but I hardly ever remember watching a movie or a film where planning and structure for a relationship was really kind of
pushed.
You know, it was
highlighted.
as a major thing. It was like promoted as this is the way that you get it done. Yet they show you this kind of glorious wedding day, these wonderful situations in certain circumstances.
They show you how to plan a wedding, that's for sure.
And the world as an organism is constantly pushing at you, plan your holiday. Plan for your credit cards. Do you know what I mean? Plan for A and plan for B. But there's no real push for us to plan for some of the core areas that matter the most. Yeah. Marriage is powerful.
Of course.
When done properly, when done appropriately, marriage is so powerful. It's a powerful witness to other people. It's a powerful resource for your children. It's a powerful resource for the individuals that are involved in it, for them to go forward. Marriage is a powerhouse.
Yeah.
When done properly. I don't understand, sis. This gets me all the time. Every time.
I mean, but as well, we also have to be realistic, because you do get some people that jump in on the marriage train very young. We were one of those that jumped on it very young.
That's right.
And even sometimes it's not about age anyway, because you can have two young people who are full of wisdom in a sense.
Come on now.
And you can have two young people who kind of know where they're going and they know what they want, and they sit down and they discuss, and you have two 50-year-olds who are just like, so what do we do? So it's not really about an age. It's not really about age, but at the same time, it's about experiences that two people have also had.
Yes, come on.
Okay, so I feel a lot of the times, the more experience someone has had before marriage can also determine this dysfunction that they will bring in.
Come on now.
You understand?
I like that.
It's funny because, I don't know if most of you agree, but I do think it's good to get married quite young, because that way, you're still able to learn and grow, and you don't think you know it all, kind of thing. You haven't been with you haven't been married so many times,
multiple different relationships.
Because especially this particular topic that we're talking about regarding dysfunction, where does dysfunction start?
Okay.
You understand? Where does it come from? Why do people, why do couples, when they're in that situation, why do they not think to themselves, wait, something's happening here. Let me look at it from a bigger picture. Yeah. Let me just take a step back.
Come on now.
And look and think, wait.
She's getting in, people. She's getting in.
Wait. Do I need to call in a plumber right now? Is the sink about to get full and everything spill? I'm using this kitchen analogies because you can tell my favorite space in the house. Why do we have to wait till everything's pouring and spilling over before we realize something is really, really wrong? And again, it comes down to that whole communication, because if couples, if husband and wives, if they talk to each other, that those conversations that they have can also help to identify when certain problems are about to cause a dysfunction.
Come on. You touched on something really, really powerful, asking the question, what is the root of dysfunction? What is the root of dysfunction? First or second episode on here, if you've not watched it, go back and check it out. We spoke about parents.
Yeah.
We spoke about the influence that comes in from parents. We spoke about this sense of right that comes to us from our parents. So we inherit these ideals, we inherit these kind of concepts, and we run out into the world believing that what we've adopted, what we've inherited, is accurate. But it's powerful. When initially discussing this topic, I don't know if you remember, we were talking about people who are attracted to people who in fact are younger versions of their parents. And I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this.
If you can relate.
If you've got people in your environment.
If it might not be you directly, that's right.
It may not be you. But if you've got anyone that you know that can relate, because what you find is that the dysfunction that a child sees as a young person in their environment, in their community. I've said it so many times. Yep. You hear me say it. We talk about this at church all the time. All behaviour is learnt behaviour. Everything we do, we picked up, we learned, we adopted from somewhere. We saw it, we smelt it, we heard it. Do you understand? We tasted it, we touched it. It was one of those things. And these experiences trained us. So when we look at this scenario with people and their parents, what we see is that somebody may have a parent who smokes. And because their parent smokes, there is a potential there that somewhere in their psyche, we call there's a part of our psychology that's called reticular activating system.
That's his department.
RAS, yeah. It's this kind of psychological concept. It's a part of the brain, basically. And essentially what that part of the brain does is when you've seen something, it highlights familiar patterns to you.
They use that in marketing a lot, don't they?
They do. So I'll give you an example.
I know that much.
This is the common example that you may relate to is this, or you may be aware of. When somebody buys a new car, or somebody maybe buys a new pair of shoes or a new pair of trainers or a dress.
Yes.
After you go out and you start to drive your car, you start to notice more of those cars out and about in your environment.
It happens every time I get a new car.
Come on. And there you go. And the reality is this. There is a part in us that actually looks and identifies patterns that we're familiar with and actually brings them to our attention in a sense. So it says, okay, look, that's the same car. That's the same car. That's the same car. Remember, that's the car. You remember we were doing that at one point in time. So, and the reality is, it happens in much the same way in terms of the people we interact with.
Right.
So you may notice that maybe in your community of friends, there's a particular type of people you seem to attract or you're attracted to. And it's not this kind of spooky attraction idea. What it actually is that we've trained ourselves to like certain things, to appreciate certain things. And because of that, we see them, we recognize them, and we're kind of almost drawn to them, not in a kind of spiritual kind of way. And I'm talking to you guys, there's a spiritual element to this, but I'm talking to you guys just on the level of like kind of our psychology now. So that reticular activating system, the RAS, highlights these things, and then we want to kind of, we see it and we engage with them, basically. So, and it's really important because when a child has a parent who smokes, essentially they become familiar with that. And this goes to the deep side of things where you may have an abusive parent, a child who sees an abusive father or an abusive mother.
That's right, yeah.
So if it's a young girl, she may perceive that to be the appropriate way to relate to her husband. Do you understand? The abusive nature.
Right.
If it's a guy, much the same way.
Right.
And they then now go out and it's the layers are deep, so it's not that someone's caught in, they go out, they see someone slapping their friend, they're like, I want to date you. It's not like that.
And that's it's funny because that's what I was gonna say. We're not attracted to it so obviously.
No, because
that's the thing.
Because there are so many layers. So imagine there are certain gestures, mannerisms, certain signals that again we may see at home with our parents, with our family, and we're familiar with those things. And because of that, when we're out, those little gestures, those little words, those little phrases, whatever it might be, our RAS picks those up, we acknowledge those, and in a sense, we have this kind of, I don't want to say attachment, but these kind of sensations that draw us closer to these things. These are some of the challenges we need to be aware of.
Right.
So when we're engaging someone, and I was really, in a sense, I really felt like today was for the courting couples, really.
Right, yeah.
But when I was discussing it with Sarah said to me, hold on, but discussing this, and she said, but what about the married folk? So let's kind of tackle it from both sides.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
That's right.
So for those of us who are kind of in a space where they're courting and we're saying, okay, look, I'm looking for somebody.
Yeah.
We need to ensure that we are evaluating correctly.
That's right.
Because when you see somebody, there may be something about them. It could be their accent. It could be the way they look. It could be a scent or whatever. And those things we could be picking up based on our past experiences. This is why, for those of you who are people of faith, it's so vital. It's so important for you.
Yeah.
To be prayerful about your relationships and your partners.
100%.
It's so important for you to ensure that you've got some counsel, all right? Spiritual counsel. And I'm not saying the spiritual counsel has the last say, but I'm saying we do these things to ensure that we're making right decisions, we're being held accountable, and we're moving into a safe space in relationship. The worst thing a person can do is get into a relationship and then a few months down the road, a few years down the road, you realize that you weren't as attentive as you should have been, you weren't as considerate as you should have been early on, and now people are looking for a way of escape. And that's a wrong thing to do, and it's better that we approach that right from the early on. I'll say one last thing before I let you go, sis.
No, it's fine.
The other thing is this. So you may have a young lady.
Yeah.
She's raised in a single parent home, or she's raised in a home where her dad is quite abusive. When that's the situation, what we find is she's then attracted, maybe not necessarily to the abuse,
right,
but she's now looking for the security.
Right.
So it's both of those things that we can observe and kind of be drawn to. So she's looking for someone maybe that can protect her, that can look after her, or someone that will give her the affection and care that she didn't have before. In certain terms, like I said, there are other aspects of the parents' nature that they may observe and be drawn to, which can find them in an abusive relationship, or find them in a relationship where they're looking for someone to overcompensate for something that they weren't that they had difficulties with when they were growing up, basically.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was just going to make the point that, you know, they there's that thing that they say, a lot of women are attracted to men like their dads.
Yeah.
Now, that's definitely something along the lines of what we're talking about, and obviously it's kind of a known fact in a sense. I mean, but I think you're nothing like my dad. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're so different. Because, and then the reason why I'm saying that is because then what happens there, in a sense that it's like, okay, so those of us who don't end up with people similar to our parents, or have any kind of even any attributes like our parents, what happened there? And that's what that's what I want to ask.
So remember what I'm saying to you. We're talking to you guys today so that you can make a decision not to end up in a relationship. So those of you who are quoting, that is a dysfunctional relationship.
That's right.
So you're not attracted to that dysfunctional person, that dysfunctional teenage version or younger version of your parent, right? If your parent was had those dysfunctional characteristics. In the scenario you're talking about, imagine somebody who watches this. They go away and they're now vetting their partner based on certain criteria.
Right.
So if I asked you, I don't know if you want to say it now, but what was the criteria you had at the point at which we were getting together? So were there certain criteria that I met? Were there certain things you were looking for? Because you raised such a great point. When you're not looking for something, it almost feels like it happens automatically.
It's true, yeah.
When you're looking for something, you're able to navigate through and say, you know what? No, that's not what I'm looking for. Dysfunctional. No, that's not a right fit. No, that's not the person for me. Yes, this is where I'm going to. And this comes down to what we've spoken about 2 streams back, about having a plan, having a vision, having a desire. I know we've discussed this so many times, but you had a plan, you had a vision for what you were looking for. You kind of had a few hiccups along the way, I guess, but we ended up connecting in the end. So the point, we praise the Lord, but I guess the point is that if you don't have a focus, if you don't have a definition of what you're looking for, and I'm not talking about that list, ladies, I know what you don't be up to, but if you don't have a focus and a vision of what you're going for, what God desires for you, what is best for you, then you're going to end up automatically, and I'm saying that in a very loose sense,
of course,
because I've just described to you that it's not really an automatic process. There's a lot of kind of the physiological, psychological aspects that go into it, but those things drive and govern you if you choose not to govern yourself. For those of you that are really spiritual, this is what happens. The flesh will pick your partner for you, or the spirit will pick your partner for you.
That's right.
And you've got to make a decision out of the two. Is the flesh, you know, I want you to do what I want. I want you to do what I feel. I want you to do what I say. Or is it going to be the spirit, which is the mature, the more disciplined, the more defining, clear aspect of your nature? I hope that answers your question. Yeah. So those are the two kind of sides of it.
Because obviously not everyone falls into the category of having a dysfunctional marriage.
Not at all.
Or having a dysfunctional relationship.
That's right. Absolutely.
You know, some people have been successful in just actually sailing through pretty okay.
Yeah.
But then again, the rate of divorce in the UK clearly shows that there's a lot of dysfunction.
Absolutely.
The rate of, single parents out there clearly shows there's a lot of dysfunction. But, obviously sometimes when we're having these conversations, we don't want to just rule out that there are people out there that are actually doing just fine in a sense, or were able to make the right decisions and end up in decent relationships.
We're all growing. We're all growing, and I think that's the key. I think that's a key point for us to make note on. There may be aspects of our relationship, myself and yourself, that I may classify as dysfunctional. I may say they're not operating at full capacity. They're not in the order that we desire them to be. So once we observe those things, it's our duty to consciously adjust those things and get those right. So I guess we've touched on the courting aspects a little bit. Let's talk about dysfunction in marriages now. So when we talk about dysfunction in marriage, I made a little list. Sarah kind of gave me a little, she spurred me on a little bit. So what about married couples? So if you don't have a standard, then that's the beginning of dysfunction. So a man and a woman get together, they're getting married, and they have no standard for their finances. Yeah, we will buy whatever we want. We'll get as much credit as we want. They'll get into as much debt as they want. They will travel whenever they want, no matter the cost. They won't plan who's going to take care of their children. They're going to have as many children as they want or not. They will... You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's kind of like a free for all.
That's it.
There's no planning, loose. No structure, and that may sound fun, but it's not, because a day will come when that lack of planning
will come and
has to be paid for. Do you understand? They have to you understand? Like pay dividends on that. Wow. So and like you charge your credit card. And you pay the minimum for a good few years, and you find out in the end that there's a debt. They've continued to increase your limit, and you're now in a place where you're stuck with a massive gaping debt. That's one thing. So where there's no standard, we see dysfunction. You made this point already. When there has been a lack of organization, lack of order, so essentially you talk to me however you want, I talk to you however I want.
The children see it. There's no.
Absolutely. So we go out. I talk to my friends about you. You talk to your friends about me. There's no privacy. There's no boundaries. There's no guidelines. There's no structure. Those things there. Lead a couple relationship to begin to operate in abnormality. You made the point already. So they now are living in a way which doesn't bring glory to their relationship.
That's right. Yeah.
Their friends know more about their relationship than even their spouse does. They don't talk to their spouse, they talk to their friends. There's no couple or no accountability they've got. There's no one that they're kind of saying, they've got a good relationship over there in this area. They've got a good relationship over there in that area. I'm going to speak to them and draw from them. No humility in the marriage. No space for growth or development, basically. So the people are living abnormality, there's dysfunction there. I think, was it you that brought this one up? So no love, lack of love. A lack of love. So there's no real kind of, and we talk about kind of, having that kind of hot love, that hot love, do you know what I mean? And it's like, this thing, like, look, let me just put this out there now. If you're in a relationship today, if you're married, all right? I'm talking to married folk. If you're married, and you're like 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 15 years down the line, even 20 years down the line, and your love is not hot, there's dysfunction. All right? Look, like, we need to be fully focused. I need to be focused. Engaged. I need to be focused on ensuring that the love in this house stays hot.
That's right.
Do you understand? Lit. That needs to be my focus. That needs to be my mentality. That needs to be my part of my worldview, my goals for life. Part of my goals for life needs to be that, you know what, I'm ensuring that I'm stoking the fire of my marriage.
Oh, this is well put, honey.
This is very key.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, the fire goes out.
That's right.
And people are like, it just gets boring after a while. You get used to each other. And they use all of these common phrases, these common language, familiarity breeds contempt. They bring all of these things in to tell you that, it's justified for the love to, we spoke about this, to fall in and to fall out of love.
Yeah.
And we've already dispelled that myth a couple episodes back. If you've not seen it, go back and watch that video. But the reality is that's not true. We are responsible in much the same way as I'm responsible to ensuring I don't, let me put it this way. As much as I'm responsible for ensuring that I equip my children with enough wisdom to ensure they don't find themselves in a relationship with a dysfunctional spouse. It's my job also to ensure that I am not a dysfunctional spouse in my own relationship. This comes down to choices. The list goes on, but communication. You talk about communication.
Yeah, no, but I was just going to make a point that when we talk about the love being hot, it's not just sexual. It's all encompassing. It's in every area.
That's right.
Because even we hear that term. Food is something for the soul. I can't remember how it is. Even just what you make for your spouse to eat, how you dine with each other, how you go to bed, how you treat each other during the days and the weeks, how you help each other to raise the children, how you communicate, how you express your love for one another. Love is so big. And a lot of the times, a lot of marriages, if the sex isn't good or whatever, they associate that with, the love is burning out, or however, things used to be so good in the bedroom. Now it's kind of like, maybe he doesn't love me anymore. Maybe she does. Maybe she's not feeling me anymore. Whatever it may be. And then they begin to associate that with that. And then obviously that's where dysfunction can begin to creep in, because there's another aspect of dysfunction, and that's things like infidelity, just going out and doing whatever it is that you want, going out with your mates or your girls whenever. You're not discussing this with your husband. You're not coming back at a decent time. All of these things,
husbands or wives.
Exactly, husbands or wives. All these things are dysfunction. If you're not, some people are like, well, I don't need to tell him I'm going out. I have the right to go out. Yeah, we know you have the right to go out, but inform. Let him know where you're going. Let him know who you're going with, and vice versa for men. I'm her husband. Why does she need to know where I'm going? When I'm back. No, she needs to know. I mean, it's like sometimes, like before, you've gone out and you've come back and like, where did you go? And you're like, I went to the shop. Yeah, but you tell me you're going to the shop because I need to know. And it's not, I need to know because I need to be like, where is he? Do you know what I mean? They start doing that, where's your husband app sort of thing.
Is there an app like that?
No, there isn't one. Don't make one.
I think there might be.
And then it's not that. It's not insecurity. It's care. It's love. It's I need to know.
It's responsible.
Exactly.
It's responsibility.
Exactly. It's been responsible for you. Thank you, darling. It's been responsible, But obviously, it can get a bit messy. But it's all that is part of love as well. It's not just, love isn't, just that. Do you know what I mean?
Such a poignant, you've put it so poignantly. I think there are levels of love. There are layers of love. And people don't realise that. Sitting down and eating with your spouse. Yeah. This is fellowship.
Breaking bread.
Yes, come on now. This is what you call high level fellowship. This is a high level fellowship.
Yeah.
Intimacy, like you spoke about, being intimate, kissing, holding hands, physical touch, intercourse. Those things are the highest level of fellowship. Do you understand? And it's important for us to understand where these things lie in relation to the intimacy, the fellowship in our household. And we talk about this from time to time. Some people may say, I'm not that way inclined. Like, I don't like to hold hands. I don't like to kiss. It's like, we know ourselves. So, and we have to operate in a way that we're accommodating to the other person.
Yeah, you're not making your spouse feel uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
They still have to be comfortable with it. Yeah.
But I think one thing that we really need to hone in on is the fact that when we do these things for the good of our marriage, we both develop and we both grow. One person may be kissy, touchy. One person may not. But the more time we spend sacrificing, I'm gonna put down some of my nature that says I may not be this way inclined. The other person says they're gonna put down a part of their nature that may not be this way inclined. The person who's not into kissing so much may kiss some more because the other person needs that.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
person who isn't into, who is into kissing may say, I'm going to try and kiss a little less because I know they're not into that.
Yeah.
And what you find is self-control develops.
Balance.
Love develops.
Yeah.
That consideration for the other person develops.
Yeah.
And we grow in our love nature.
Yeah.
We grow in our ability to demonstrate love to our spouse. And these things are, as we're sharing now, the things that you can use to stoke the fire of your relationship, to really stoke the fire of intimacy in your marriage. And I think that people don't really take these things into consideration. So there is such a great list. I'm talking about things like no vision. You said no vision, no honor, no plan, no hope. Hope was a massive one for me. And it's like when a person is in a relationship and they're like, you know what, this person's not going to change. Like, look, I am done. I am. This is. It's because they have lost hope in the relationship, lost hope in whatever it was that caused them to start off in the beginning.
That's right,
They've lost hope in themselves being able to love.
Carry.
Do you understand?
That's right.
And this is really important because it's not even about the other person. Really, it's about you.
That's right.
Do I have the capacity?
That's right.
And this is why those of you who know the Bible well, the scripture talks about the agape love, talking about God and his love. And his love it's not like the kind of phileo, the kind of the natural, the carnal love of men. It's different. His love is selfless. And it's that I gave a simple example just now. The person who says, I really, really enjoy kissing, but I'm gonna kiss less because I know they don't like it so much. And the other person that says, you know what, I really don't like kissing, but I'm gonna kiss more because I know they enjoy that part of the intimate relationship. Those things cause listen, there is an invisible.
I'm sitting there thinking.
There is an go ahead.
I'm sitting there thinking, if you don't like kissing, why would you get married? What's going on?
Sarah,
if you don't like kissing, let me know. If you like kissing, let me know. No, Jack.
So I don't know. You guys can share in the comments. I know we're talking a lot as we started, but
because it's just like
share, guys. If these are things that you know about, you can relate to, down in the comments, let us know. It's kind of thing.
True.
Like, where have you had to make a sacrifice in your relationship and seen that develop greater love and greater intimacy?
Yeah.
What have you done to have to stoke the fire in your relationship?
Yeah.
The reality is, the point I want to make just now is that what people don't understand is when we make these love sacrifices, what we're doing is, in the invisible plane, we are growing our capacity to love. That's what we do. So when I sacrifice something for you, when you sacrifice something for me, we grow in love. Our ability to sacrifice, our ability to even comprehend and understand love grows all the more. This is so rich and it's so powerful. And I challenge you guys to practice this. Just practice what it's like to sacrifice some of your own pride for your spouse. All right? Those of you that are courting, maybe you ain't at this stage yet. You may be kind of doing this in a kind of conversational style, or maybe you're getting to know each other. Maybe you're starting to think about what would it be like for me to kind of, for some of you guys, play football less or watch less football because you know that she may not be that way inclined. Or for some of you ladies who've got your afternoon tea booked from now until the end of the year, are saying, okay, what's it going to be like for me to dial back some of these because he wants me to come and watch him play football on a Saturday or so. So think about some of those things there, guys. Yeah.
What else is on your list?
Yeah, so I think that we had no value on all levels, broken roles. Okay, yeah, that was where I kind of summed it up. So no value.
Yeah.
So we're talking about if you're in a relationship and you have no value, you don't care about them, you don't value their emotions, you don't value their thoughts, you don't value their conversation, you don't value their abilities. So there is a couple, and the couple, they're married and they're moving along in marriage, but the wife doesn't do certain things that the husband appreciates. But this husband sees other women outside doing these things and has a greater appreciation for those outside than he does for the one at home. That's
already dysfunction, isn't it?
This is. And when you begin to value the attributes of another woman, not just over your wife, because obviously, look, Sarah's not the greatest football player in the world. She is not she can't play basketball like, some of those Americans can.
Joe.
Do you understand? She said like Uncle Joe. But obviously, there are qualities that you have that are rich and that I appreciate. I'm in error if I begin to look at you and compare you to the abilities and skills of those outside. And then, not only am I look at them and say, okay, I value that, that's great. And and that means if I value them more than you, then I look down on you in that area.
It's already a problem.
Not only am I looking at the value, but then I begin to make that a comparison. So I'm just like, okay, wait, they're good, she's not. And then I'm like, look, what's wrong with her? Why can't she be like them? So when you take it to an emotional space where you begin to look down on your spouse because of what's rich and what's what someone else has that may be better or stronger, then you invite this dysfunction in your house.
That's right.
And it's powerful because go ahead. Let me just
you just said something that's quite powerful.
And it's powerful because when we look at the scripture, the master, Jesus, he tells us that once you begin to lust in your heart, you've committed a sin already. So it's not really about, engaging in somebody in that manner. You can do all these things in your mind. You can invite this dysfunction into your relationship in your mind alone. Sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I was going to say, you just said invite dysfunction.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and remember that point I made earlier about people might not necessarily marry or be attracted to someone who is similar to their anyone in their family kind of thing. They're completely different. But dysfunction comes in. It comes into a relationship from different avenues, from other avenues.
Come on now.
It might not have been there before. Everything might have been, great, and you've done the vision and you know where you're going and all these kind of things. But then, somewhere down the line, a door's open.
Jezebel.
Uh-huh.
I just had to say that. Sorry.
Like there's a door.
I just felt to say that.
A door's open, and then when this door's open, dysfunction starts to come in from this way, coming from that way, and before you know it, they've got so many doors open, they don't know which one to shut. And I think that's something as well that we need to really highlight. Problems are not always there from the beginning.
Yeah.
Problems are not always there from the beginning. Problems creep in. Problems come in later down the line. It could be 10 years. It could be 4 months, which way. But problems are not always there at the beginning of a marriage. Yeah. So even sometimes when you're thinking to yourself, okay, so how am I gonna analyze this? How am I gonna do it? It might not even be there yet. But what we do have to do is be aware that things come in later. Yeah, and
absolutely.
Don't be sleeping on the fact that everything is rosy
Good.
now.
Come on now.
You always have to be. You always have to have your guard up when you're married. Always. I was watching a short clip of one celebrity, not doing that much anymore, thank God. But I was watching a short clip and they were interviewing him and the wife, and the presenter said, how did you deal with when he was becoming famous, and your husband's good looking, do you know what I'm saying, and how did you deal with it? And she was just like, at the end of the day, she knew he was coming home. And that was her thing. That was it. She was done. She was happy to be like, he's coming home at the end of the day. I was like, him coming home doesn't mean he's coming home.
Yeah,
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Come on now.
Not because he walks through the door, sits down, you eat dinner together, that might not be the husband that walks out the door.
That's right.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? So a lot of the times, this comfortability with, he's coming home, attitude. Yeah. Oh, she ain't going nowhere, attitude. The person that left might not be the person that comes back.
That's right.
So you always have to have your guard up. You always have to be aware. You always have to be praying for your partner.
Come on.
You always have to be praying for dysfunction to not be in your home. Because like I said, it might not be there now, but with a few doors open and then it all comes flooding in. And then before you know it, 2-3 years, people are sitting in divorce court. Yeah. This was a happy couple. A few years later, they're back to sign papers.
Powerful.
So we have to remember that it's not always blatantly obviously there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not always just there.
That's rich. Very rich stuff.
Thank you, darling. So
I think what I ended on. What I ended on was broken roles, broken goals. Basically, so you were asking what about dysfunction in marriage, and I saw it as like if our goals are broken, then our roles are broken. Yeah, and it's like you got to think about this. It's like if we spoke about this very early on, first couple episodes again. If we're not clear on what's what, and I really want this to highlight to you guys the importance of a structure.
Yeah.
So I talked to you about worldview. We spoke about this MOT kind of stuff before. But if you don't have a standard, then how on earth do you expect your relationship to maintain a standard?
That's powerful.
There's personal standards.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
There's marital standards.
Yeah.
And if I don't have a standard for me, how can I have a standard for we? It's like, it doesn't make sense.
That's right.
So, and if the goals are broke, so it's like the age-old challenge, and we're talking like in a religious kind of scenario now. The Bible says, don't be unequally yoked with an unbeliever. And if you paint that into a marriage picture, essentially what it's saying is, look, if you're a Christian, it's advisable for you to marry someone who's a Christian. So I spoke to you guys about cultures. Now, and I wasn't even talking on a spiritual level, even though we may have tacked on that. But now we're talking about spiritual culture. So this age-old challenge is, you've got somebody who is a Christian who determines to marry somebody for lack of understanding or lack of scriptural depth. They marry someone who's of a different faith, a different culture. Now, they have children. Now, do they go to the synagogue? Do they go to the temple? Do they go to the church? Like, what model?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
What role are you setting for the children? And the biggest mistake...
It's already confusion.
The biggest mistake... You're right about that. But the biggest mistake that we can make is this. We'll sort it out when we get there.
Right.
We'll sort it out when we get there. This is a major issue. If a Christian marries a Jewish person, do they go to the synagogue to worship, or do they go to the church to worship?
Right.
And I know they're close.
Similarities.
But what do? Do they celebrate the Sabbath or not?
Yeah, but then...
Do they sacrifice the lamb, or do they accept the sacrifice of Christ? No, I'm being serious.
Hopefully not the lamb.
I'm being serious, because what we need to understand is there are ramifications to not being mature and sober when you need to be mature and sober. And sometimes you don't acknowledge those things until it's too late.
Yeah.
And it's at that point in time that it's drama.
And you find in most of those situations, especially with the from the faith aspect of things, you find that most people who were raised by parents with two different religions, that it's not that one parent submitted to the other. Yeah. It's most time your mum went to church and dad went to the mosque, or mum went to the mosque and dad went to wherever, or mum went and dad didn't go anywhere.
And what is that? And what does that promote?
It promotes confusion, because it's kind of like, and there's lack of unity already. There's lack of unity, and then but then there's also some people are like, oh yeah, but then that's why I was able to grow up with choice. And it's I wasn't forced to believe in one thing. I wasn't forced to believe in another thing. And so it kind of leaves them sort of hanging on a balance of a scale that's not equal kind of thing. So even when you look at it from that angle, you already see dysfunction, because what side of the fence are they on?
That's right.
In a sense. And, we already know, it's kind of like you have to kind of choose a side. You don't have to, but it's better to choose a side. It's if you support Arsenal, you support Man U. You can't say I support both, because people get out. Like, you're not a football fan. Like, no, just don't do it. Do you know what I mean? But it's already, there's no clarity, and I think I've heard. I had a colleague at work who the mum was Muslim, the dad was Muslim, the mum was Christian. Yeah. And he just basically said that his parents were just like, look, we're not going to do any one of them. When you get older, you decide what you want to do. Done. But then I was just like, but okay, when you was little, where did you go? Did you not go? Do you know what I mean? It already sounded like, no, I don't really believe you, bruv. But okay, fair enough. Now you're not on any side of the fence. Yeah. But saying that your parents didn't make you choose, but they still took you somewhere. Yeah. you saw one thing from one parent, and you saw another thing from another parent.
Yeah.
So already, you know, choices are sort of more difficult in a sense. It's no, that whole. I mean, if you do know of anyone who's you know, were raised and they didn't have any issues or whatever, please like drop it in the comment. But that's quite challenging for children.
Yeah, it's challenging for the parents themselves, and this is the thing.
They call it love, though, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the thing. We need to ascertain, like, are we actually taking steps of love in the first place? Do you understand? Like, what is that?
Like
what
Romeo
type
and Juliet sort of
No,
story.
I'm talking about that biblical love. So
no, I'm talking. Okay.
I'm talking about. What I'm saying is, if we're taking a step like this,
Yeah.
are we being forward thinking? So it's like, if I say, a young man says to a young woman he's going to marry her, he has no job, he has no ambition for work, he has no skill, he has nothing.
Dysfunction.
Okay, he's got some dysfunction. But he says he loves her dearly. Is he really catering to her future? Does he really care for her future? If deep down inside him, nothing moves him to say, I'm going to get the best job I can.
That's right.
I'm going to make sure that I can provide for this woman.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that when we have children, those children at least have a roof, they have food, and I've got the words to give them to ensure that they're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we don't do those things now, and we're saying, yeah, you know what, A can worship where they want, B can worship where they want, the kids can make their choice when they get there. Yeah, they'll be vegetarians for now, but if they want to eat meat, they can eat meat. And it's like, are we really catering to the love that we have for this person? Are we really loving this person? Is my question. Because if we don't, my thing is being sober, guys. Being sober minded. If we are not sober in mind, if we don't think about things properly, we are destined. Those people are destined to fail. The biggest, one of the greatest travesties in the world today is the lack of thinking. Sober thinking. People are like, yeah, well, I think all the time. Yeah, you may, like, things may be flying through your mind.
Yeah.
But how much calculated, objective, careful thought do you have?
Yeah.
Oh, but you know, things are tough. Work is hard. Work will be hard from today until forever.
That's right, yeah.
Things may be tough from today until forever for some people. The reality is, you can change those things. You can change your view on those things by thinking about them. How can I change? What can I pray about? XYZ. Well,
let's read some of the comments. Oh. Just want to say hi again, guys. Hello. Okay, so we've got Ecos Mios. So what do you do if you're already in a rut or in an abusive marriage and the spouse is unwilling to go to counselling?
Do you want to take that?
You go to counselling. Because you're going to need counselling anyway. If you're in an abusive relationship and things are that bad that, you know, the other person doesn't want to go for counselling, you definitely need to go for counselling. Yeah. Because you're going to need someone to talk to. You're going to need someone to hear what you're going through. You're going to need to express yourself and all of these things. And remember, like we said, a lot of the times, a relationship can be changed just by one person taking the action. And that's what we were talking earlier about both spouses waiting for each other to do things together.
That's right.
That causes delay. That doesn't always solve the problem, because even if two people were to go for counselling together, it depends on the heart. If they're not willing in their heart to change, then you're just wasting your money anyway. You're wasting your money, your time, your effort. You're wasting the counsellor's time.
Yeah.
So it's best to at least say, you know what, I'm going to go for counselling. Because when you begin to go for the counselling, the person who is in the abusive relationship, they might begin to find the voice. They might begin to understand that what the mess that they're in is not right. Because a lot of people, sometimes it's like, oh, but he does love me, he's nice, you know, and he doesn't mean it, he was just upset. Yeah. And when you go for counselling, the person can say to you, no, he's got no right to do that. No, she's got no right to do that.
Yeah.
And the other person can the counsellor can allow you to see sense. So I will always say, if anyone, if a marriage is in trouble and one partner doesn't want to go for counselling, you go for counselling. The person who is willing, pack your bag and go to counselling. No, not as in not pack your bag. I mean, carry your handbag and go.
Yeah, I'd say I agree with Sarah. I think accountability is key.
Yeah.
You need to be accountable, especially if it's abusive and things are going on. Sometimes abuse is hidden within the confines, the walls of the house.
That's right.
So it's key for us to extend ourselves to the point where we are getting assistance and help from somewhere.
That's right.
Physical abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, child abuse. Any type of abuse that is present, we need accountability. Somebody else needs to know what's going on.
That's right.
Counselling is A level, A stage, but like initially you want to get some accountability. Tell somebody, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell someone, put it out there. But the level beyond that, as Sarah said, just to touch on Ecosmos's question, is exactly that. Get the ball rolling yourself.
Yeah.
Start. You take the right steps. I pray for. Hopefully, I'm praying it's good, solid Christian counselling. They can give you some spiritual guidance, some spiritual assistance on the way through this, and helping you obviously psychologically where necessary as well. So I agree with that 100%.
Okay,
great question, by the way.
Yes, thank you. Ecosmios also says, I feel that attraction to being like your dad is pre-salvation.
Okay.
Before you know what you meant to be looking for. Before you know what you're meant to be looking for, I guess she said.
Yeah. So I think,
and I agree. I really agree with that point, because when I was thinking to myself, like, it depends on where someone is in their life.
So I'll chuck a spanner in that. The challenge is this. We saw Paul the Apostle many a time talking to churches about things that maybe today you'd think that you wouldn't need to talk to a church about.
That's right.
And the reason I say that is because in today's society, many people want to cover their problems. They're covering the challenges they're going through.
Yeah.
They don't want to expose themselves. We live in this Instagram society where it's all about take your worst picture, throw the best filters on to get your best angles, and then throw it out there. And this is the issue. So I think that, yes, in many senses, what you're describing is a mature Christian, somebody who is mature in faith, mature in understanding, and has permitted God's word to guide and govern their life. And the challenge is, when we say Christian, many a time we use that blanket statement. We're really talking about, in some circles, mature Christians.
Yes.
But you've got immature Christians who don't have that mindset. They don't have that kind of direction, that capacity. So that's something we really need to take on board when we're considering that. You are right. I agree with you guys. A mature believer may have been that way inclined before they got saved. Now they're saved. They're walking in the ways of Christ, so they know what they're looking for. They're aiming for someone who's in the faith. If it's a woman, maybe a man that can lead them and direct them spiritually. If it's a woman who can support him in his faith and the calling that God has put on his life. Yet, listen, time and time again, so many, and I want to say young people, but it's not even young people these days. Yeah. So many people who will profess to be a believer or believing find themselves in situations that you wouldn't expect them to find themselves in.
That's right.
And it's not just today, it goes back to Bible times is my point. So, yeah.
Right, yep. Mrs. I Can Win said, good question at Ecosmios. Ecosmios said, fire. I think she was talking about hot love. Go on, honey.
Ecosmios says, it's true. This is a big problem for empty nesters who once all the children are married and are off living their own lives, are left living with a roommate they don't know. Absolutely. Right. Constantly coaching when we're talking about this stuff. This is like roommates. People who are just, they don't know their spouse anymore. And one of the weird scenarios here is people who are newly married. You have some newlyweds who, on the lead up, they had their best foot forward. They were acting the way they're supposed to be acting. So they get married, and then as soon as they move in, or maybe they may even been living together before, but when they get together now, it's kind of like, you're a stranger to me.
Yeah.
And they're like, constantly
what do I do with him?
And they constantly want to spend time outside of their house, and it's just kind of like these things are based on the patterns that they've seen of marriage, what they think marriage is about, what they've seen marriage. I've said it to you before. I've been in numerous environments where people are like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to go home to the missus. I don't want to go home and the missus at home. It's just like, really, like, what?
Why is she your missus?
Yeah, what's going on back there? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't understand. Like, you should be, like, I'm fighting to get back to the missus. And some people are saying, I don't want to go there, you know, the missus, the kids. It's just like, really? Like, really? So I think we really need to...
sober-mindedness.
You understand? It's like, but that's what it is. Like, some of us have been trained via the TV, via our experiences, via our friends at school, via our friends at university, based on our experiences, not to have an appreciation. This is dysfunction, lack of value.
Yeah.
So that's a great point. The empty nesters, that's a prime example of having failed to invest in the marriage during the period while the children were at home to kind of stoke that fire.
Yes,
stoke that
that's
fire.
Right,
you were going to say something?
No, I was just going to say on what you just said about the person who says, I don't want to go home to the wife and the missus. It shows their dysfunction.
That's a point. Great point.
It just shows their dysfunction, because it's kind of like, why would you say, you know, that's your family?
My point is more, why would you marry that person?
Yeah,
why are you married?
Yeah, but then, you know, you can't ask why you married, because obviously it could be a thing of where he might really be going through issues.
She might be
going through issues, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just like, I think when people make that statement, they need to go and seek help.
Yeah, and I know use a man's voice, it could easily be a woman, guys.
Yeah. Right,
I must ensure...
Mrs. Icameron says, I must ensure I'm not a dysfunctional spouse. Powerful.
Praise the Lord.
Right.
Praise the Lord.
Amen.
Cosmios, even letting the children take all your time and energy so there's none left for your spouse.
That's such a good point. That is such a good point. And as well, you know, it's so funny because a lot of women actually do use the children, the house as an excuse to not give to the spouse, to their husband.
Yeah.
You know, to not give emotion, to not give time, to not give, you know, that engagement that he needs.
Yeah. Or she needs. It works vice versa, guys.
I was gonna say, because also you know, in that area, if a husband sees that the wife's spending so much time with the kids, he should be like, honey, we need to talk about this, because you know that kind of shows like a cover up. If she's constantly, if there's time for her to not engage with the children, but she is constantly engaging with children, then for me that's kind of her saying, I don't really want to like chill with you. I want, as soon as the kids are gone to bed, honey, nah. You know what I mean? And she's off to bed kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, you know, that is a major dysfunction also.
Yeah, I agree.
So thank you.
I must ensure I'm not a dysfunctional spouse. Praise God.
People are breaking bread with their laptops and
yeah.
And phones.
2020.
That's so true, man.
It's 2020. And so it's a laptop and phone today. Years gone by, it was something else. And I think this is where I said it before. We need to be sober. We need to be conscious. Sarah said it just now. If a husband is realizing that his wife is spending a lot of time with the children, or there's an imbalance in the house, he needs to draw her out.
Yeah.
And it works both ways. These things are easier when you've sat down and had a conversation and said, you know what, babes, how much time do you think we should spend together in a week?
Yeah.
What do you think are valuable activities for us to spend time doing during the month? We map those things out and we work towards spending that time in prayer, reading the Bible, having a meal together privately, having a conversation, ensuring that we laugh together. Like focusing on those things and ensuring that those things are fostered throughout the relationship.
Yeah.
Week in, week out, month in, month out.
And even on that point, we have to remember that society wants to create dysfunction in marriages and in homes. Okay, it wants to create dysfunction. When you look at employment, when you look at the social media, when you look at just so many different areas, society wants people to be dysfunctional without them blatantly saying to you, "We want you to have a dysfunctional home." It's what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, so and the you know, people breaking bread with their laptops and their phones, that is a major dysfunction.
Yeah.
In a home, you know, I mean, there's times where I might be on my phone and my husband will take my phone and he'll call my daughter. He'll be like, "Jojo, take mommy's phone." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Babes, now's not the time for you to be on your phone." But he does that. he snaps me out of that place. He snaps me out of that moment. And even I've made decisions now to not really engage on social media and different things like that, because Sundays I brought a rule. Sunday I turn my phone off on Sundays, and that was because I realized I'm spending so much time on this little device. Although I'm still getting things done, but I'm not getting as much done as I can be getting done. I'm not spending as much time, with my, even if we're sitting right next to each other and I'm on my phone, I'm next to you, but I'm not with you.
That's right.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? My mind is the mind is elsewhere. So even all those little things, and this is what we're saying about people acknowledging these things early on and finding out ways to remove these things from their relationships. Like I said, those are the type of doors that begin to pop open. But then if we don't figure out how to shut them, only God knows what's going to flood in, through those doors. So
really great quote years and years ago, and it stuck with me. And it was just like, when you're in the room, be in the room.
Yeah.
And Sarah knows it, the family knows, because I share it with them all the time, and this is very, very important. It's important for us to understand that if I'm sitting here, I need to be here, fully engaged, fully committed to what's going on here. Very, very important. Great comment so far, guys. Thank you so much. What have we got next? Kat Johnson says, exactly, it's consideration, not just disappear into the night. Communicate so everyone's on the same page. No doubt or issues can creep in.
That's right.
That's fundamental. It's what you were talking about earlier on, and it's really key. I think when we kind of position ourselves in this way, we're able to guard against the challenges that may come in. You're the same person that's going out, same person that's coming back. Do you know what I mean? Even though when you're talking to them, you may or may not talk to them throughout the day, but you've got that consistency and you've got that kind of dependability that you're looking for in a relationship. And you have to remember, it doesn't always start with your spouse. It starts with you. All right? Remember that. That. Mr. Kelvin says, May at Ecosmios. Kat Johnson says, right. Preach, Sister Sarah. Why get married if you don't want to kiss no one?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Ecosmios says, compromise is key in the right areas, of course. Not doctrinal compromise. Yeah, I think that's right. And I use the word communication. We need to find a balance. Do you understand? It's important for us to work that. I know compromise kind of has a negative stigma at times, but yes, indeed, we need to do that. We need to have those moments of compromise. We're making those love sacrifices for our spouse. Ecosmia says, it may not be kissing like that. It may be being overly touchy-feely or maybe PDA. Say exactly the same. Exactly the same. Ecosmio says, plugged, #J I can win. Yes, you did get a plug. Miss I can win says the same, plug, smiley face. Hey G's, Ecosmio says, yes, counseling by yourself. Hit that like button. If you haven't yet, you should too. Come on, guys. If you like this, do hit the like button for us. Share this video. Zee says, great conversation, guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that, sis. She says, I'm learning. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support and your time here today. Ecosmia says, well, not for some guys. If it's a nagging wife, would you want to go home to her? You know what? So again, Sarah said it earlier on. Like there are different areas of dysfunction. So it could be with the wife, it could be with the husband, it could be the husband, it could be the wife. And I think these are things that we need to really work out. If she is nagging, the question is, to me, that's a sign. She's saying something. What is she nagging about? What's the problem? Is there a deeper issue that's going on that's not been addressed? Is he addressing the things that need to be addressed? So,
and someone's nagging could actually be legitimate.
Cry for help.
Exactly. And it's also, depending on the people. If someone is saying something to their spouse, depending on where their spouse is, at the time, they might take that as nagging, but it might not actually be nagging. If you get what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Like, let's just like the example that's coming to me is, okay, she keeps on saying, "You're coming home late. You're coming home late. You're coming home. Why you come home? But you're coming home late. It's the truth. She's not like she's telling you. It's a true fact. Yeah. You're coming home late. You're coming home late. Why you keep coming home late? She's telling you you're coming home late. Yeah. So again, that particular thing comes down to communication. Yes. How are we communicating? Is it when someone, if a husband or a wife keeps on going on about something, if they keep going on about something, that means you need to take time to look at the thing that they're going on about and see if it can be fixed before it becomes a major problem. Like we're talking about here, before it becomes a dysfunction in your marriage.
Yeah.
You understand? Because sometimes You know, when you think about, she's always moaning, or he's always complaining. Complaints don't just come. They're coming for a reason, you know. And sometimes I think, society makes us think, just moaning, just complaining, he's just going on, she's just going on.
Yeah.
Because we see these things and we see how people react to when someone just keeps going on about something where it should be taken seriously.
Come on.
You know? So, yeah.
Agree.
You know.
Love it.
Yes.
Cosme says, rather sleep at work. Yeah. That's some people's life, for real, girl.
Yes,
that's
so
some people's life. Mr. Osai Kimwin, good evening, sir. He says, confusion and not willing to adapt to love. You see, now that's so powerful. We've got this mindset where people want to stay in a place and they don't want to change because it's necessary. And I think we need to be open. We spoke about this today, these love sacrifices, making a point that we're going to sacrifice things for the sake of our partner, our spouse.
Yeah.
When we do that, we grow.
Yeah.
We grow. Clarity and a greater love. This is what we want. This is what we need in our relationships. Thank you for your comments, sir. Says, yes, you definitely need to be intentional with your time. Yes, indeed.
Definitely. I mean, it's funny because when, when people newly get together, or not newly get together, when they've just kind of got married.
Yeah, newlyweds.
There's still so much that's happening and all that kind of stuff, and they don't really, both go to work, both come home, eat, have dinner, watch a little TV, go to bed.
Yeah.
But then as time progresses... we still got the same 24 hours.
That's right.
But you need to do more within those 24 hours. You need to do more in those 24 hours to build your relationship. Whether that means, okay, you both go to work, you come back, you eat dinner, and you don't watch TV. You sit down, you talk about how was your day, you pull something out, you read together, or whatever it may be.
Play a game.
Play a game. Yeah, interact, begin to build each other up, kind of thing. So yeah, there's so many layers. So many layers. Don't you think, guys? There's just so many layers to marriage. Marriage isn't just clear cut. It's not just, there's a ring for some of us don't wear rings. Some of us had big weddings, some of us didn't have a big wedding. Many of you getting married this year, 15 people, 6 people, however many people they've said can't have. It's not just as clear cut as marriage has so many layers.
It does indeed.
And I think that's what we're really trying to get out on this program, on this show, just showing how many layers there are to marriage, and not because there are so many layers doesn't mean it's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
It can be good with those with all those layers. It just depends on how you're working together as a team. It depends on how interested you both are as well, in order to see that your marriage, I guess, grow and develop into something good as well.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff.
And it's so funny because I was thinking of something. If you're married or looking to get married, you're someone's role model. Someone is going to watch your relationship.
Absolutely.
Someone's going to watch how you do this. Whether it's your children, with your siblings, the younger siblings, your neighbours, your co-workers, people at your churches or wherever it may be. We're always being watched.
Yeah, everybody's a role model.
Everybody's a role model. And I think it's important for us to remember that sometimes making that effort isn't just for us. It's for those that are coming, behind us as well. So, yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Those of you who were here while the intro was running.
While the intro wasn't even running.
In the comments, just livening it up, adding that fire. We thank you so much. We appreciate you guys so much.
We really do.
Told you the purpose of this channel, us being here, this playlist on this channel, is for us to aid you, to help you enrich your relationship, your marriage. All right, we're looking to help people build the best relationships possible. Okay.
Yes, and begin to break that the statistics of divorce, divorce does not have to be the end result for people who are in troubled marriages or marriages that are not working. Divorce doesn't even have to be a thing. I remember when Zeke and I got married, we always said that is one thing that we'll never entertain. And that has to be a mindset when you get married. If you're not married yet, you have to make that a thing, because the words that you speak will be what come back to you. If you entertain the word divorce and let it flow around and stuff, it can come back to slap you in the face. But if you from the very beginning ensure that there's no divorce, we will always work this out no matter what, that's what you'll have. Come on now. So yes, she's preaching. Speak those things as knowledge. All right.
right, guys. So remember, please share this video. Share this video. Push it out there. If this video has been of value to you, if it's benefited to you, what you need to do is like it, add a comment down below, and share this video. Share it with as many people as you can, so we can help impact and enrich relationships out there today.
Yes.
I've been Ezekiel.
And I've been Sarah.
And we've been here today for another episode of Marriage Matters Live. All right, guys.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful evening. We'll be back real soon.
And all you married folks, stay loved up. Hey.